Struggling to discuss sex and intimacy with your partner?
Not feeling met, seen, or heard in your relationships?
I'm Janelle.
And I'm Andrea. We're two midlife mavericks sharing our own experiences.
Messy AF and no regrets.
With marriage, divorce, polyamory, and pleasure.
We've learned that when you're brave enough to figure out what you want and ask for it,
with partners, friends, family, and most importantly, yourself,
you'll feel more alive and free.
Question everything, especially your mother's advice.
There's no RomCom formula for this, but don't panic.
Being alone matters. Honey, I can't miss you if you don't leave.
What if your breakup could be your breakthrough?
Our podcast is for brave hearts.
Anyone who seeks or has found the courage to confront their fears and limiting beliefs about breaking societal norms in the spirit of finding their truth.
If you're seeking permission to be brave in your relationships
and want to feel less alone along the way, we got you.
Hi, friend. Hi, friend. Talk about a throwback. Welcome to Permission to be Human, brave hearts.
We are so excited that you're here. Believe it or not, Andrea and I are celebrating our 100th episode today.
Woo! 100 episodes. Wow.
Yes. This has been really a life's journey. It's a life project. We've been doing this for 3 years.
Yeah, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
We've been recording for 3 years?
No, we started recording though in the fall of 2022. Yeah. No, the fall of 2022. And we started publishing in the spring of 2023.
Yeah, 100 episodes. I love actually saying, like, when I tell people, like, we celebrated our 100th episode, there is people are just like, oh, you're legitimate. Like, yeah, like it's a legitimate podcast. You didn't just like have an idea and do 20 episodes. No judgment on that. If that was your journey, great. And if you were happy with it, but I'm like, oh yeah, we have 100 episodes. Like, this is a real thing.
Yes. And when we, brave hearts, if you've been with us since the beginning, then you know how much has changed for us. And we're just going to recap a few of the things. So for me, when we started, I was still married, had no idea that like divorce was in my future. So I was married. I was not living in the goddess temple. I was not yet a tantrika or professional dom or
right.
erotic wellness practitioner. I had not yet started a church.
Mm-hmm.
I also hadn't started traveling every month to the East Coast for work, but then also to see my dad. Right? Like that, like one of the benefits of that time was figuring out that, seeing my dad who's turning 95, like for 36 hours a month, every month was better than like twice a year for 4 days. So that's something that changed for me.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But when I think about my life 3 years ago, it is literally nothing like it is now.
Yeah, I think you were wearing jeans.
Oh, I was. Yes. Oh my gosh. I've had a new birth experience. I stopped wearing pants. I do only wear dresses now. Oh my gosh. My hair is so much longer.
It's true. You had really short hair. Like, I don't even remember you having short hair, but you did.
Something else that's super different for us is with the podcast, as we are entering in season 5 in a few weeks, that starting in season 3 and season 4, we have done 12-part series where we've dived deep into one specific question. And when we started the podcast for the first, I don't even remember how many episodes it was. It might have been like 80 episodes. Yeah. We were just interviewing each other about the topics that were alive for us. And we didn't have guests on the show. It was just us. And so what we've decided to do today and next week is a throwback to Andrea interviewing me and then me interviewing her, so that we're just sharing about what's alive for us now, because we haven't done that in like 9 months. So Bravehearts, you might not know what's up for us.
Yeah. And it feels important because I think it really colors the context of how we interview guests and how we respond to them and how our topics, have an arc. because we're actually quite different. There's a lot of different things going on with us. So
yeah. And I think that that's what's fun about this podcast when we think about going full circle on things is I don't actually journal. I haven't journaled in a number of years. And in a way, the podcast is my journal. I can like look back at the titles and be like, oh my gosh, that's where I was then.
Yeah.
And so it is just a reminder for all of us Bravehearts that like we change a lot. Really, quarterly is like I think a good metric for like how much have I changed in the last quarter. So the fact that Andrea and I haven't had shared where we are the past 9 months, it feels like, oh my gosh, it's like lifetimes ago.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's a great lesson of impermanence. That's actually a benefit of impermanence. I mean, because we know impermanence is a bitch, except, when bad shit's going on and we want it to end. So things change really quickly. This has definitely been a huge lesson for me. And I often measure that by looking back at my journals. And there's usually a list of stuff in there that is like, oh my gosh, things have changed so much. And there's also a list in there where I'm like, still working on that.
Yeah.
So, we sometimes, some parts of us stay the same and some parts of us change.
Yeah.
Okay, Janelle, you're first.
Okay.
We're going to have an authentic conversation. I haven't even heard what's going on in the last 10 days. So let's start with this one. Janelle, what have you learned lately?
That question in the context of 9 months feels like, oh my gosh. But in the context of just having arrived back from Burning Man last night, that is consistent. I have gone to Burning Man every year since the podcast. This was actually my 10th year in a row going to Burning Man. And that's another milestone marker for me. And what I learned this year, again, I would say some of the lessons are just like you're learning them again. I'm learning them again and again.
Yep.
Is that being able to receive is a gift. So for those who don't know, Burning Man is a gifting culture, meaning that you go to the desert and you bring something to give to people without the expectation of getting something in return. This is not a barter system. This is not like a currency. And so, one of the things that I gift are goddess sessions. So it's about 10 minutes of my presence, my attention, and that's it, right? No one's having to give me anything back in exchange for me doing that for them. And what I realized, because I went to the burn this year with just one other person, we weren't in a camp. It was just two of us in a Sprinter van. That we were like, we're going with the intention of receiving. And we're going to go to all these camps that have put up so much time and effort and money to create an experience for those of us attending. And we're going to receive and express our joy. And recognizing that that's a gift.
Stop. Yeah. So stop. So yes. So I love this. I already got like a little chills when you said that. We are going to Burning Man with the intention of receiving. Receiving. Meaning you did not run a camp. You did not offer anything. Is that correct?
I did not run a camp. What I offered were 10-minute goddess sessions.
Right.
To individuals and strangers as I walked around.
Got it. Okay. This is definitely different from what I've heard you talk about Burning Man in the past.
And there's lots of people who open camp, which is what it's called. And people who go to camp, who are at a camp, can still go and receive the gifts of other camps. But this is my intention. And realizing, I actually was talking to someone in line while we were waiting for the gift of ramen that someone was providing, that we at Renegade Burn, which was in 2021, when Burning Man didn't officially happen, that a lot of those of us who went were like the builders and the doers who were like so excited to like build the city. And as a result, there weren't as many people to attend the events that were created. And so the way I had not thought about this, but the guy described it, his name was Stryker. He said it kind of fell a little bit flat because there weren't enough people to receive the gifts that people had put all this effort to create. And I really see that as a circuit that, like, of, you know, and Betty, we talked many times on this podcast about Betty Martin and the art of receiving and giving. And this was just another example of how that circuit works, and that here's giving a gift, you choose the obvious gift, but then receiving it and appreciating it with joy is also a gift.
It really is. Makes me think about, so many things. Like, because there is so much joy in giving. And if no one is there to receive it, it is disappointing, right? Because it feels good to give. Okay, so what a great practice in receiving.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, of course, if you're giving a gift with the expectation that someone's going to receive it in joy, then that's also a setup for failure, right? So at Burning Man, you're just like, literally the practice is, I'm only going to where I want to go. I'm only receiving the gift that I want to receive. No one's giving me anything that I don't want, because I'm like, there's just an abundance of 1,000 bazillion million things. I'm just going to where I want to go.
Got it. Okay. Being able to receive is a gift. What else? What else did you learn?
Not at Burning Man, but something that has come up for me in the past several months that I have learned is distinguishing between soul love, which we could call unconditional love or transpersonal love, and human love. And I have become very skilled at this transpersonal love. It's partly why I'm so good at being an erotic wellness practitioner, because I'm capable of opening my heart to strangers, to everyone, because I can see the purity and the love of the soul in everyone. And I think I've actually had that skill most of my life. But what I became really clear on was that I had not allowed myself to put boundaries and conditions on love that was coming through the human relationships.
I feel an episode coming on. I'm like, okay. Keep going. I've got questions.
So there was a part of me that didn't put boundaries up around how I wanted to be treated, who was deserving of my love, because I was everyone deserves love, right? I can see the love in everyone, and in doing so, I found myself disrespecting myself. This definition of love, I'm differentiating between the human love, which is conditional, and then the soul love, which is unconditional. And so as a result, I can have unconditional love for someone at the soul level, but then at the personal level, I can be and I'm a no to you talking to me this way, to you treating me this way, and to us having a relationship.
Okay, so I think I'm hearing that at a soul level, you're loving unconditionally. At a human level, you're loving conditionally. Would you say that unconditional love is also possible at a human level?
At this point, I would say no. I would say that love to me is there's multiple facets. The phrase that the Inuits, the Eskimos, have 20 words to describe the word snow, right? We have this one word for love that that we throw around, that I have thrown around my whole life, and have used it in this way that really I realized now that I was using it in the unconditional love. Everyone, I have so much love to give. Everyone deserves love. Everyone has a loving heart. Everyone's born as love. I believe all that to be true. And yet, if I only look at it through that lens, then I allowed myself to let people treat me in a way because I felt bad about not loving them.
So when you talk about this conditional love, are you only talking about it with a partner or with family or with children? Like, and are you saying in general that this is just for you, or this is how you see love in general?
The realization came to me through a partner. I
Okay.
would say that, but it's still like, so I never birthed a child, so it probably does not pertain, I would suppose, to like young children, right? Who you're teaching how to behave. But there's this, like, I would say with my spirit son, right? My requests of him, like my boundaries with him are, just to name a couple of them, are please call me and acknowledge me on my birthday, and on Christmas. Like, those are really important to me. And if you don't do that, like, those are my conditions of my love. Like, it doesn't take away my unconditional love of his soul, but I have conditions of being in relationship with him. So another thing that I have learned in the past 9 months is I view myself as a galactic being as well as a human.
What's a galactic being? You had to know that was coming. Or maybe you didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's like I have this expansive view of myself, like my human, like somehow I have put myself in a context of that's more than just me, Janelle, an individual on this earth. I've expanded my view to include like the different parts of the galaxy and like the parts of me that came from someplace else. I have a green thumb. That is like very new and very exciting. I have never thought of myself as someone with a green thumb ever. And I have killed way more plants than I have kept alive in my lifetime. And how it happened is a pretty wild story. That's definitely will be shared as another episode at some point. But the short of it is, after a 3-week container with my Dom, which means I got to be the sub in this container. The best way for me to describe it is that I was fucked into existence. And this new version of me is able to see energy differently. And one of the energies that I can see is the energy of plants, which turns out is what having a green thumb is. And talking to other people about this, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a green thumb now. I can see that the plant is like, I'm thirsty, or I'm overwatered, or like, tend to my leaves. Like, this is never something I could just, like, they just did not exist in my like frame of reference. And so in talking to other people who've had a green thumb, they're like, oh, wait, you can't talk to plants, or like you couldn't, and like you didn't feel plants before? And I was like, no. And so they're also surprised because it's so obvious to them that plants are communicating to them.
Wow. Really have to talk to my plant friends and see if like this lines up. Like, they feel the energy of the plants, you're saying.
Yeah, and maybe they see it, there's lots of different ways, like, it could be in any number of senses.
Got it.
But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now you have plants in your house.
My plants are so happy. I brought 2 cactus that like were on their like deathbed. That was like I was about to throw out, and then this happened, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I see you! Oh my gosh, I love you! I see what." And so like now they're like growing for me. They're sprouting. They're propagating. It's so exciting. I talk to them every day.
Wow, this is fantastic. I love this. This is a green thumb has developed for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Huh. Did you think you saw energy before? In different ways?
Yeah, and I would say I feel it, because there's people who very much can see it, and I don't see it. I feel it.
Okay.
And so in this way, when I say I was like fucked into existence, it feels like the last part of me. Like, I could feel a lot of things, but this was like this last piece that, I don't know. I'm saying last piece. I don't know. Another piece that came in.
Okay. I love that. As someone who also has killed many plants and is now struggling to keep the plants alive in the house where my husband no longer lives, it is definitely like, wow, how are you doing that? How are you noticing the plants in a new way? But I believe, based on just my past experience, that sometimes we start seeing things that have been there for a long time.
Yes. Right.
And that's just, this is just a more concrete metaphor for that.
Yes.
Yeah. So Janelle, how are you letting go of form? Bravehearts, we talk a lot about letting go of form on this podcast. And I think it's just become an evergreen theme in my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I learned about this concept through Winter Jade Ively when I was at the Feminine Mystery School a couple of years ago. And the concept, right, is that we want something and we think we don't have it. But if we let go of what we think it's supposed to look like, we actually it's already here in front of us. And so one of the ways that I'm doing it is, just asking myself every time I feel like a flicker of constriction, I ask myself, do I have what I need right now? And the answer is always yes. Right? Like I might think, oh, I need more money in the bank because I have a bill that's due tomorrow. But do I need that money today? Do I have the money I need to pay the bills today? Yes. The answer is always yes. And it has helped me really stay in the present and get out of being in scarcity or fear about my future. Mm-hmm. And or the past, I suppose. But I was someone who would be like, oh, but what if, but what if? And I'm like, oh, do I have what I need now? So that is one thing. The other thing that just happened was in the integration after Burning Man, I was talking to my friend Allison, and we were talking about partnership, and she asked me if I was looking for someone. And I said, I'm not. At this moment, I really feel like I have found the one in me. And I have this expanded view of partnership, and I'm getting my emotional needs met from all my different girlfriends. I'm getting sexual needs met from different people, but I'm not looking for this one person. And she said to me, she's like, oh, but I still really want romance for you.
What does that mean?
Right. So I sat with that and I reflected on that. And I was like, oh, I actually have romance. So I have clients who are sending me texts of pictures of flowers whose blossom is so unique and beautiful that they've named the blossom after me and sending me a picture. I've had another client who wrote a myth about the land of Orion, and that there's Ambassador Janelle, and how she is this gift of the future to remind us of who we are. And I've never had these kind of romantic gestures. Oh, well, I mean, that's not true. I've had partners be very romantic, but I realized that I was in a way withholding a little bit because I was like, oh, it's nice to receive these for sure. But because I didn't have, it wasn't a reciprocal feeling from my end, that I realized I was kind of withholding my heart a little bit and not allowing myself to fully receive the romance that was coming my way. And instead, kind of back to this example from above, which is that, oh, I know for sure that both these men that I'm talking about, the fact that their heart is inspired to create beauty as a result of essentially me being their muse is a gift to them. And so all I have to do is receive the gift of the beauty that their heart is creating through inspiration of me.
Wow. What a receiving. We're right back to the receiving.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That is a beautiful reception, right? Of being romanced.
Yes. And then being like, oh my gosh, I am being romanced. I do have romance in my life. It's not something that I'm being denied. because I haven't chosen, because I'm not looking for a partner. No, I have romance.
Yeah, you've defined your own definition of romance.
Right. I have to let go of form.
You've let go of form.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful. I love that for you. As my 15-year-old would say. Oh my God, I love that for you. Yeah, it's a thing. So, okay. Anything else about letting go of form?
Yeah. On like really pragmatic, mundane levels that have nothing to do with being a galactic being, are like, health insurance. And I have decided not to have health insurance for the first time in my entire fucking life. And if you were to
Wow.
ask me 6 weeks, like 7 years ago, let alone 7 weeks ago, would I choose not to renew my monthly subscription? I would have been like, no way. And I just really like, there's just something like it's really expensive. And the reality is I pay way more in my premium than I do actually for the care that I'm receiving because I'm fundamentally healthy. And back to like the futurizing, I'm like, if a catastrophe happens, right, and I have to go to the emergency room, like I'll figure it out when that happens, and pay those bills when they come through. But there's something about I'm paying for something that's not happening, and that doesn't feel good for me anymore.
Well said. Well said against the insurance system. Ugh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And I totally get that. Yeah, I definitely have been. I've been uninsured several times in the last 20 years. And it is, for me, it's definitely a better place to live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and obviously, right, for like this is also a privilege, right? We're both healthy enough to be able to like navigate that, and for those people who can't, it's fucking awful. So I mean, it's like there's like it's a catch-22. No matter, like there's no like what's the right answer. There's no right answer. I was just basically realizing that I was paying for something that wasn't true for me.
Yeah, love it. It was just misaligned.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to be clear, it's not that I have $50,000 that would cover.
No,
if I had to go in an ambulance, if I got cancer, I don't even have enough to cover. Probably that the ambulance cost alone would be like thousands.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that we've got that ready. It's just that it's unlikely to happen, and we'll figure out what to do.
Right when it does happen. Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I feel good now. Okay. We can go to the next question.
What are you working on?
I have a new website.
Yay.
It's JanelleOrien.com. And it's a landing page for all the various things that I do, which include this, Permission to Be Human podcast, the Goddess Temple, and Feel Wildly Alive, which is my one-on-one intimacy work company. And so I've like all those parts of me have been pretty disparate in the last 3 years, right? In fact, none of them existed 3 years ago. And so it feels like in terms of this full circle moment that, they are all now have landed in me, have integrated in me. So there's like one place to go for people to learn about all the different things that I'm up to. And in a way, it's also for me. Right? I always find building a website as someone who's built 20 plus websites. When I'm building them for myself, that it's a way for me to understand myself better.
Interesting. I've never heard you say that.
Yeah, in fact, like my Zaya was like, I can like have AI build you a website in like 5 minutes. And I was like, you know what? I was like, I would rather spend the 20 hours doing it because I'm going to learn more about myself and learn about like, how do I want to present myself? What feels true for me? What are the words that are true for me? And so that kind of contemplation and reflection is actually time well spent and not worth me outsourcing. In the spring, I created some new videos about erotic wellness and when I'm working with couples and individuals. And so I'm really excited to have those get out there in the world.
Yeah, beautiful. Janelle, how is the Goddess Temple?
She's growing. Or as my friend Sonia just said, she can feel her heartbeat. So Bravehearts, for those who don't know, the Goddess Temple is where I live, and it exists to serve as a sanctuary for deep spiritual connection, healing, and community. And it's something that I have been the steward of for the past 2.5 years. But the way I would describe it is that it's been my home that has a name, and I call it the Goddess Temple. And what has shifted in the past few months is it's now the Goddess Temple, and I live there. Energetically, like the Goddess Temple comes first, and it's also become the home of the Church of Witness Sisterhood. And that's a church that I have founded, and our mission is to help heal the divide between the masculine and the feminine within each of us through gathering, education, and ritual. And we believe pleasure is sacred and our birthright.
Beautiful. The birth of the Church of Witness Sisterhood. Love that.
Yeah, and so it's exciting because to support the mission and to support the temple, I have a new housemate. Her name's Ariana. She's a priestess and also a doctor. And she has a title. She is the goddess of temple operations and events. And our goal is to be hosting 10 to 14 events per month so that we're providing education and basic skills on intimacy, sacred sexuality, pleasure, like the full gamut. And like one of the things we're also offering is grief. Like we have community grief circles, intimacy 101, such as the Wheel of Consent, our BDSM workshops. Andrea and I are hosting our Permission to Be Human workshops back here at the Goddess Temple again, starting this month in September. And then we also once a month do Sanctuary Sundays. So for prayer and gathering and community.
Yeah. It's so great. I feel like the Goddess Temple has really been birthing for a long time. Like it's gone through many iterations, but this feels like it's home. Like where?
Yeah, she's up leveled. She's no longer just this like baby like that is getting born. She's born. She's a little bit more of a teenager maybe. I don't exactly know where she is in the journey, but what I feel really, really, really clear on is that she's here in service to what the community needs. And I believe deeply in that community needs community, and that for all of us to have more fulfilling relationships, there's education needed regarding pleasure and intimacy that feels accessible and approachable and not intimidating. And that's what she's in service to.
Yeah, she feels like a soft place that's in service. Janelle, what is lighting you up besides the Goddess Temple?
Well, I believe I'm part of many communities, but I believe for anyone, right, that community does help us navigate and support us what is going on in the world right now, right? Like all of the chaos and the grief and the pain and the uncertainty, that being surrounded by people who can see you and hold you, right? Not fix anything, is a really instrumental part of being human right now. And with that, I'm in a new book club, and it's a group of us that are going to read the book. It's called Our Dark Divinity, written by my teacher, Bruce Lyon. And this is also a group of galactic beings, and this book helped me understand myself in the context of time and space for where I am in the world right now and where the earth and America and like civilization is in time and space right now. So it really helped me contextually. And in this book club, which starts September 21st, we're going to cover one chapter of the book per month for 9 months.
Oh, great. I love that structure. That's, it's really nice. Okay. And who's Bruce Lyons? What is he teaching you? How is he your teacher?
So his teachings are a trans-Himalayan esoteric mystery school. And they actually really relate to the fact that the black hole was just discovered in the past 20 years, and that the sun revolves around the black hole. And that really changed, and that humans have the cosmos inside of us. And so that our divinity, our dark divinity, is this like this black hole, this void, this monad that's inside of us. And how do we access that and bring that light from that darkness out into the world? Esoteric mystery school, you know.
I know. I'm like, I don't. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There's so much in there that we could unpack and dissect.
What's really funny for me is that I get really nervous when I'm having to like describe it with words, because someone asked me not too long ago, oh, like, what does he teach? And I'm like, I don't know how I describe it. I just know that I'm an embodiment of it.
You're an embodiment of it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so in which means that like the words I use don't feel like they convey it fully, but if like my presence does.
Okay. Beautiful. I think that's a good way to say it, actually. What's one small thing that you're excited about?
Oh my gosh. It's a small thing, but it could have been a big thing, which is that in June, I had a flood in my basement as a result of a hose being left on. And I thought, okay, turn the hose off, no more flood. But then a few weeks ago, right before Burning Man, there was a small puddle of water underneath the new carpet in the basement. And it was coming. It was coming through, it was coming through a crack in the foundation. So I thought it was going to be potentially like a really big and really expensive fix, but it didn't make sense. We couldn't figure out the source of the water. We just knew that water was coming in, but it was coming in inconsistently. In the end, what we figured out was that it ended up being caused by the sprinkler system transformer, which is essentially the plug, had stopped working. And so the sprinkler system had like stopped midstream or something. I don't exactly know. All I know is that it has cost me less than $100 to fix it, and the problem is solved.
Amazing. Okay. Well done, homeowner.
Yes. That is a small thing that I am very, very excited about.
Yeah. What are you neglecting right now?
There's a part of me that knows that I'm supposed to get like the thoughts and feelings and way of being that are inside of me outside of me. Whether it's through writing or whether it's through a YouTube channel. But I'm not clear which. And so I'm not doing either.
Okay. So you're just holding off for a bit.
Yeah, but I've been holding off for a bit for a long time. And so so I don't know that I'm neglecting it, but I'm also like, oh, am I supposed to put more something into it? I'm not sure. So because like when I'm in a state of confusion, I just kind of like step back and wait. And so it's not that I'm directly neglecting it, but it doesn't feel, I'm like, hello, I've been waiting a long time for clarity.
Yeah. So you're waiting for clarity and waiting for the download to come clear. Yeah. Okay. And okay, that's really interesting. I can't wait to see what kind of expression you're going to manifest, or like what that's going to look like. Maybe it won't be either of those platforms.
It's true.
Maybe it'll be something totally different that you don't even know.
I don't even know. That's totally true.
Yeah. What's a quote that you're loving right now?
So this is the last question. So do we want to go to the Burning Man quote and then go to that one as the closeout?
Sure. Good point. Yep. Janelle, is there anything else you want to tell me about Burning Man? Like what happened? What was the burn like this year? I know you talked about the giving and the receiving and that being the culture at Burning Man, but what happened? What happened at your 10th burn?
Yes, on my 10th burn. It was the magical adventure that it is every year. I keep going back because it meets me where I am. And it does serve me as a milestone marker for me to see who I've become since the last time I was there. And this year I camped with my friend Touch, and it was just the two of us in a sprinter van. And we called it Soft Burn, which Andrea, you can appreciate because of what we've got going on. a lot of people go hard at Burning Man. It's like there's a lot of intensity. Like the desert is intense, the drugs are intense, the partying is intense, not a lot of sleeping. And this year, instead, I just followed the ease. From packing for the burn to driving in, we had a lot of spaciousness. She and I did miss there was one really big sandstorm, but we were there for the other ones and the 3 rainstorms. And so we ended up actually sleeping a lot because you can't go out in the rain. And the feeling that I had but I was always wherever I was supposed to be. And one of the things that Burning Man has taught me over the years is to like let go of my FOMO, which was very real for me for a long time. Because at Burning Man, you are always missing something. Like there is always something going on. So like there's no way you can see it all. There's no way you can see like a percentage of it. So in this way, it's just like, okay, so you might as well just be content with exactly where you are because you get to go only to where you want to go if you choose to. Yeah. And one of my favorite things at Burning Man, that this is our 3rd year that we did it, is Orion Family Christmas, started by my spirit son, because my spirit son goes, my ex-husband goes to Burning Man every year. And so this year on Thursday night, we came together. We all camped in separate places, but we came together. We invite friends to join us. We had a snowball fight. We exchanged presents. And then we drop acid and go sing Burning Man Christmas carols. And I love it so much. So much.
Oh my gosh, that line, we came together for a snowball fight, we exchanged presents, we dropped acid, and we sang Burning Man Christmas carols. I have never heard all those things together in your tradition before. That is amazing. Okay. Wow, Burning Man. Wonder if I'll ever go. It is still there, still hanging around in my consciousness, still in my aura. Janelle, tell us what you wore to Burning Man this year. Like, what was your outfit? Because I know it's always different, and like sometimes you have like dreads added to your head or tattoos or paint. So what was it this year?
Yes. So clothing is like my main form of my expression at Burning Man. And Burning Man actually taught me that clothing is a main form of my expression.
Oh.
So it's a full circle in that way. And so this year I decided to go as the different archetypes of the divine feminine. And so each day I primarily wore a solid color. And so I had, and then it kind of evolves, but essentially I was dressed in all yellow as sunshine one day. I was all in red as Mary Magdalene one day. I was in all white in my ceremonial whites when I was a goddess giving blessings out at the temple. And so just really like always wearing dresses, always. And then my hair, I did have this time, instead of having my hair braided, I had it braided simply, but then I had clip-in extensions. I tried for the first time in the hopes of making Exodus easier, which it was.
Don't you have a ritual of going to a spa after Burning Man?
Oh my gosh, yes. And I didn't know that was going to happen this year. This was one of the magical miracle moments of like having my dreams come true, because I was driving home alone and I didn't know if it was all going to work out, but it did. My friend Allison was like, I just need to ride to Reno. And I realized that what I was afraid of was driving. Actually, I wasn't afraid of driving home all the way to Denver, which is 16 hours, but I was afraid of driving at Exodus, which could be 6 to 8 hours in the middle of the night when I'm tired. That's the part I didn't want to drive alone. And so then I was like, yeah, that would be amazing. And she's like, then do you want to go to the spa? And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. So I did. I got to go and I got to be there the whole day. And usually I have to like leave after a few hours because we have to start driving, but I didn't have to go anywhere because it was just me and Allison. And so we got to like spend all day at the spa, and I got my facial and a massage.
Amazing. Yeah. What's Exodus?
Exodus is when you're leaving the burn. And so like after the temple burn on Sunday night, then like Burning Man's like officially over. And so then you have to leave. And so there's 70,000 people who are trying to leave. And so you like try to time it. But, if you were to like Google this, like there's so many pictures of like coming in and out of Burning Man. I don't actually know how long the drive is. Like, let's say if you could drive it in 45 minutes if there was no traffic, and it took me 5 hours.
Yeah. So the exit of Burning Man is long because you're in a line of cars basically.
Yes, and the entrance into Burning Man is long because you're in a line of cars. So
right, of course, just part of the deal.
Burning Man, you gotta want it.
Yeah, you gotta want it. That's true. That's funny. Okay. Wow. Like I learned so much, even though I already knew what's going on with you. Okay, so let's go on to what quote are you loving right now? And can you read it to me?
Yes. So this also came through Burning Man, which is like one of the anomalies, which is there was a lot of poetry in my burn this year. And Touch brought a Mary Oliver book called Why I Wake Early to Burning Man. And on the first day, she opened it like randomly to a page, to a poem that became our anthem for the burn. So we read it every morning, and then we chose to memorize it. And I've actually never memorized a poem. And so that in and of itself was its own gift that Burning Man gave me.
Hey. Yeah. Beautiful. Okay.
So I'm going to read it.
Okay.
I'm not going to memorize. I'm not going to say it with fun sight just in case I mess it up. So for the brave hearts.
Yeah.
But it's called Mindful. Every day I see or I hear something that more or less kills me with delight, that leaves me like a needle in the haystack of light. It was what I was born for, to look, to listen, to lose myself inside this soft world, to instruct myself over and over in joy and acclamation. Nor am I talking about the exceptional, the fearful, the dreadful, the very extravagant, but of the ordinary, the common, the very drab, the daily presentations. Oh, good scholar, I say to myself, how can you help but grow wise with such teachings as these? The untrimmable light of the world, the ocean's shine, the prayers that are made out of grass.
Wow. Thank you. Oh, Janelle, so much going on for you. So much soft beauty, so much soft transition.
Yeah. Thank you for asking all those questions. Thank you, Brave Hearts, for listening. It feels really good to share what's alive.
I'm leaving this interview just feeling like full of delight. Like, where can I go find delight outside?
In the mundane. Finding
the mundane.
Yes, in the very job. Like, there's just delight everywhere.
Yeah. Love it. Okay, I love you, friend. Brave Hearts. We'll see you on the next episode. We'll have another one with my update, and then we'll launch into season 5. We love you.
Love you. Hey, Brave Hearts. Looking for permission?
Work with us. We offer Brave Heart coaching.
Follow us on Instagram.
Meet us in real life at a Brave Heart conversation.
Subscribe to our newsletter.
Do all this and more at our website, permissiontobehuman.live.